Pan-Africanism is a powerful idea. It lives in the hearts of African people. It is more than just a political theory. It is a belief in a shared destiny. It is a call for unity and strength. Pan-Africanism seeks to bring people together. It aims to improve their lives. It is a living, breathing movement, a way of seeing the world, a commitment to action, creating a brighter future, where African voices are heard and African people thrive. The roots of Pan-Africanism run deep. They go back to the terrible time of the transatlantic slave trade. Millions of African people were stolen from their homes. They were taken across the vast ocean in chains. They were forced to work on plantations. They suffered greatly under brutal conditions. This experience created a common bond, a shared memory of suffering and a longing for freedom. In these dark times, enslaved Africans resisted. They fought back in many ways. Some ran away. Some organized rebellions. Others kept their culture alive. They told stories of Africa. They sang songs of their homeland. They remembered their ancestors. This was a form of resistance. It was a way of saying, we are still African. The shared experience of slavery created a sense of common identity. People from different parts of Africa found themselves together. They realized they had a common enemy. This enemy was the system of slavery and the racism that supported it. This understanding was an early seed of Pan-African thought. Even then, a dream of return began to form. A dream of going back to Africa. Sometimes it was a spiritual return, a return to African values and pride. This longing for connection to the motherland was very strong. It helped to shape the early ideas of Pan-Africanism. After slavery, another dark shadow fell upon Africa. This was the shadow of colonialism. European powers came to Africa. They divided the continent among themselves. They did not ask the African people. They drew lines on maps. These lines often separated communities. This was the scramble for Africa. It brought new forms of suffering and control. Colonial rule was harsh. African people lost their lands and their freedom to rule themselves. They were forced to work for the colonizers. Their resources were taken away, their cultures were often disrespected, but the spirit of resistance did not die. African people found new ways to fight for their rights. They formed groups, they wrote petitions, they organized protests, they demanded to be treated with dignity, they yearned for self-governance. This period of colonial rule also strengthened Pan-African ideas. African leaders and thinkers began to see a common pattern. They saw that colonialism affected all African people. They realized that freedom for one African nation was linked to the freedom of all. This understanding became a powerful call for continental unity. The desire for self-rule grew stronger. Educated Africans traveled and met others. They understood that unity was essential to challenge the powerful colonial empires. One of the most powerful voices of early Pan-Africanism was Marcus Garvey. He was born in Jamaica, but his message reached African people all over the world. Garvey believed in black pride. He told people of African descent to be proud of their race, history, and culture. This was a very important message. It came at a time when racism was widespread. It helped to lift the spirits of many. Garvey founded the Universal Negro Improvement Association, UNIAG. This organization became very popular. It had millions of members. Its goal was to unite all people of African origin. It aimed to build a strong and independent black nation. Garvey believed that black people needed their own businesses, ships, and government. He wanted economic independence for black people. His famous call was Africa for the Africans. He encouraged black people in the diaspora to look to Africa. He saw Africa as their ancestral home. Garvey's ideas were bold. They inspired many people. Although Garvey faced many challenges, his impact was enormous. He is remembered as a prophet of black liberation. Kwame Nkrumah, the champion of a united African continent. Another giant of Pan-Africanism was Kwame Nkrumah. He was the first Prime Minister and President of Ghana. Ghana was the first sub-Saharan African country to gain independence from colonial rule in 1957. Nkrumah was a powerful speaker and a man of action. He believed deeply in the Pan-African dream. He saw Ghana's independence as just the first step towards a larger goal. Nkrumah famously said, "The independence of Ghana is meaningless unless it is linked up with the total liberation of Africa." He worked tirelessly for this goal. He supported independence movements in other African countries. He believed that African countries needed to unite. He envisioned a United States of Africa. He saw this as the only way for Africa to be truly strong and independent. He organized important conferences in Accra, Ghana's capital. These conferences brought together leaders from across Africa and the African diaspora. They discussed ways to achieve unity. Nkrumah argued that political union was essential. His vision was ambitious and far-reaching. Nkrumah's dream of a fully united Africa did not happen in his lifetime. But Nkrumah's vision remains very powerful. He is remembered as a great champion of African liberation and unity. Section 6. Across the vast ocean was ambitious and far-reaching. Nkrumah's dream of a fully united Africa did not happen in his lifetime. But Nkrumah's vision remains very powerful. He is remembered as a great champion of African liberation and unity. Section 6. Across the vast ocean. The diaspora's embrace of Pan-Africanism. The Pan-African idea was not confined to the African continent. It found fertile ground among people of African descent living in other parts of the world. This is known as the African diaspora. These are communities formed by people who were taken from Africa or people who migrated from Africa. They live in the Americas, the Caribbean, Europe, and elsewhere. They carried Africa in their hearts. They maintained connections to their heritage. People in the diaspora faced their own struggles. They fought against racism and discrimination. They fought for civil rights and equality. In these struggles, Pan-Africanism offered them strength. It offered them a sense of belonging. It connected them to a larger global community. It reminded them of their rich African heritage. It gave them pride in their identity. Many important Pan-African thinkers came from the diaspora. Figures like Webb Du Bois, Aimé Césaire, and Leopold Sédar Senghor. They wrote powerful books and poems. They organized conferences. The Pan-African Congresses starting in 1919 were crucial. They brought together Africans and people of African descent. They called for an end to colonialism and demanded rights for black people everywhere. This exchange of ideas and support strengthened the global Pan-African movement. Section 7. New Drums, Ancient Rhythms, Pan-Africanism in the Modern World. Today the world is very different from the time of Garvey or Nkrumah. Most African countries are now independent. The old forms of colonialism are gone, but Pan-Africanism is still very relevant. It faces new challenges and offers new opportunities. The spirit of unity and cooperation is needed more than ever. Africa still works to find its strong voice on the global stage. There are new battles to be fought. Modern challenges include economic issues. Many African countries struggle with poverty, debt, and unfair trade rules. Pan-Africanism calls for greater economic cooperation between African nations. It calls for building stronger African economies. It calls for fair trade. It encourages Africans to support African businesses. This is sometimes called Buy African. It is about economic self-reliance. It is about controlling Africa's own rich resources for the benefit of its people. Another challenge is political instability in some regions. There are conflicts and governance issues. Pan-Africanism promotes peace and democracy. It encourages African solutions to African problems. Organizations like the African Union work towards these goals. They try to prevent conflicts and promote good governance. The vision is an Africa that is peaceful and well-governed, an Africa where all citizens enjoy security and human rights. The rise of social media and technology also offers new ways for Africans across the globe to connect. Section 8. The Unfinished Journey, the Future of the Pan-African Vision. The Pan-African dream is an ongoing journey. It is not a destination that has been reached. There is still much work to do. The vision of a united, prosperous, and peaceful Africa remains powerful. It continues to inspire new generations. Young people across Africa and the diaspora are taking up the call. They are finding new ways to express Pan-African ideals. They are using technology, art, and activism. They are shaping the future of this important movement. One key area for the future is economic integration, making it easier for African countries to trade with each other, making it easier for people to travel and work across borders. The African Continental Free Trade Area is a big step in this direction. It aims to create one of the world's largest free trade areas. This could boost African economies. It could create jobs. It could reduce poverty. This is Pan-Africanism in practical action. Another important aspect is strengthening African institutions. The African Union needs continued support. Regional organizations also play a vital role. These institutions can help to promote good governance. They can help to protect human rights. A stronger, more unified Africa can speak with a louder voice on the world stage.